According to Wikipedia, Record Store Day is an annual event inaugurated in 2007 to celebrate the culturally independently owned record store. Held one Saturday, typically the 3rd, of every April and every Black Friday in November. The day brings together fans, artists, and thousands of independent record stores worldwide. Many records are pressed specifically for Record Store Day, with a list of releases for each country, and are only distributed to shops participating in the event. Now, this year's list is already out, but Kate Bush or Haley Williams haven't reached out to me yet to see what gospel vinyl records should be included in the list. So, I am kindly posting this suggestion video for their convenience. Here are 5 vinyls that would probably do quite well on April the 20th, 2024. By the way, these are all gospel types that fit into 5 different gospel genres like Christian pop rock, Christian funk and soul, and so forth. Now there's a disclaimer here. With Vinyl Record Store Day in mind, I have not chosen 5 artists that I think would sell well, because I know that the goal of the event is to sell vinyl. So, if I were choosing about the overall effectiveness and the content of the message, I would have a different list. Gospel music is not a style. It's not. It's a message. These 5 are ear pleasers. They're crowd favorites. You know, business is business and all that kind of stuff. So all of these albums have at least 500 or more people saying that they want them on Discogs. Now, I've noticed that some of the artists on the actual Vinyl Record Store Day don't even make 500 or more once on Discogs. So I'm just saying, 1 or more of these re-released albums would probably do very well in vinyl stores. Also, for those who might say, well, now, these are gospel albums or they're Christian artists, so let's leave that to Capitol or Universal or Provident or whomever. Okay, let's. So, for any of those labels, here are my suggestions. Feel free to use them. In 1988, Amy Grant released her album Lead Me On with A&M Records. Although she released it in the 80s and it was her 8th album, it became the #1 album in CCM Magazine's 2001 book of the 100 Greatest Albums in Christian Music. According to Discogs, over 500 people would love to have this album. Now, EMI and Sparrow Records released a double-disc 20th anniversary edition of the album on June the 24th, 2008. However, a new vinyl release would be very nice. Or you could just wait 4 more years and do a 40th year anniversary release. Newport 1958 was a live album recorded by Mahalia Jackson. On Discogs, over 600 people would love to have this album. Now, Mahalia recorded it at the Newport Jazz Festival on Sunday morning, July the 6th, 1958. People who were in the room said that they couldn't even describe the atmosphere because it was so overwhelmingly surreal. That's kind of what happens when people in an audience connects with their mind, their emotions, and their pocketbooks, but they aren't sure how to tap into the supernatural. I use the word supernatural for a general term of what only the Spirit of God can do. Now, this is an incredible gospel album worthy of a new release, and I'm sure new consumers would love to have it. Probably one of the top male country music artists has to be Johnny Cash. Now, according to Wikipedia, Hymns from the Heart is the 7th studio album and the 2nd gospel album by American singer Johnny Cash, released on April the 2nd, 1962. It features a selection of gospel songs and is the 2nd album of this type released by Cash, the first one being Hymns by Johnny Cash. Cash later recorded many more gospel albums, including Sing's Precious Memories and Believe in Him, among others. This album has a more traditional hymn gospel feel than his previous albums. On Discogs, nearly 700 people want this album. Just food for thought. Are you familiar with the band Brothers Johnson? Ray Mansfield with Real80CCM.com recently wrote about this 1981 album called Passage, put out by Louis Johnson. Mansfield notes that the album single Open Up Your Heart made it to number 13, which is pretty good for a soul track in 1981, he says. He also goes on to say that this is a top-notch soul album, and you should really listen to it if you like music with a little bit of soul. Over 1,600 people are asking for this album. That's 1,600 people, in case you didn't catch that. And finally, this is such a no-brainer that I'm practically working for the record company marketing departments at this point. In 1967, Elvis Presley released this gospel album, How Great Thou Art, hearkening back to his roots. Just like Jerry Lee Lewis, Aretha Franklin, and Justin Timberlake, Elvis started singing in the church before becoming a mainstream artist. According to Discogs, over 3,500 people want this album, and they go for as much as $40 a vinyl, online, and sometimes more. It's won many, many awards, and it's been recognized for decades as a spiritual favorite by Elvis Presley fans. This one happens to still be in the original shrink. I do have another copy of it, but I'm not getting rid of this one. Well, there you go. For what it's worth, here are some last-minute suggestions for Vinyl Record Store Day 2024. Where are you shopping for this special occasion? And have you ever seen a legit gospel vinyl released on this day? I'm not talking about a gospel-sounding album or a gospel-inspired album. I mean an intentional gospel message record like any of these 5. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, keep putting the stylus down and turn it around. For Lost and Found Gospel Vinyl, I'm Kevin Vogele, and I hope to see you very soon.